Down the rabbit hole we tumble once again, to a place you remember, but have never truly been, where dim moonlight shines on an age long gone by, where stranger things are happening, and you very well may die. A wonderland unlike any you've ever seen before, captured by a darkness that will shake you to the core. Time is running out. The light is almost gone. Will you become a queen or perish as a pawn? Welcome to Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Top of the afternoon to you folks. We are back in the studio. Design Merc checking in. Let's pick back up where we left off last night with the Wonderland Nightmares and Dreamscapes Module 2. Module 2 cover. That's how we're doing it. Alright, did a little work. Just a smidge. Nothing too serious. While we were off camera here, trying to get some appropriate vinage, and it looks like we have finally hit the right area. I'm having Midjourney run through and make several different versions because I plan on grabbing a whole ton load of vine grabs off of each of these images and snagging just those pieces, overlaying them on top of our image, so we have a much more expansive amount of vines. So, going green today, as you can see. There we go. Oh, what do we got? What do we got? A lot of shrubbery and bushes. That's all right. How's everybody doing today? Well, these episodes will be up on YouTube shortly. Just had a discussion with Philip, and we're going to put those up over the weekend so you folks can watch me do this thing anytime. As always, feel free to check out our links right, I'll get it right someday. Right down there. All those are listed. We'll add the YouTube, Discord, and anything else we need to over the weekend. Alright, got some good looking images here. That'll work. Getting excited. We're about to do these vignettes for these windows. That's going to be fun. Kind of thinking those do not look the same size. I don't think anybody else can notice that, though. That's probably a me thing. Probably a me thing. All right. You know what we're missing? We are missing tunes. We're missing the tunes. There we go. Keep it low key for the moment. All right. I think we got enough to work with to start here. Let's see. So what we're looking to do is we are looking to pop Lorena out of the image for right now. We don't need her. That is our new growth over there. We're definitely going to get rid of whatever that is. I think I might just have AI replace that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we decide to do that. Let's get the vines up there first. Happy with the tree. It gets a little cartoony down here. Happy with the way the wall came out. We may need to put another set of windows like over here. I feel like No, yeah, because there's no other room over there. I don't know. Oh, there's room. Sometimes you got to figure it out. All right. Part of this process is just sitting here staring at things, trying to figure out what the next move is. So there we go. All right. Let's see if we got some good vines in here. That's not too bad. Is that going to be too dark to throw up there? Let's see. All right. Oh, you know what? We're going to try something funky and new here real quick. You are going to see new screen in a moment. Let's see if I get this right. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let's bring this bad boy over here. Bring you. Well, I don't get the feeling that wants to work for me today. Alright, we're not going to play like that. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Sorry, I got to resize some windows, folks, so you can see what's going on here. I'm going to try to flip screens, but I haven't tested that out yet, so we're going to leave that alone for right now and just stick with what we know. All right. I don't know. I think that's a little too tree-like. Maybe on the end there. Maybe off of this window here. We could do that. What do you think? I think we throw... Oh, that is not the button I wanted to hit. My bad. About to have InDesign open up for no reason. Yeah. Do we think that this will work here? I don't know. It might. I don't know. Let's give it a shot. InDesign is just not paying attention at all. It's doing its own thing over there. Alright, layers. Look at all these layers. So sexy. Here we are. Blow this up a little bit so the windows are roughly get off my screen. I love how it likes to put stuff on there that I don't need. There we go. We want to aim these windows and kind of line them up a little bit. That way we're getting roughly the right accurate size for this particular shrubbery. Alright, and if we put it there, I think we'll be alright. Alright. Yeah, I think that'll work. What do you guys think? You gonna wrap that around that window? Actually put it over the window. Yeah. You see this branch right, like this branch right here? And this part, oops, just went and moved it. That will go over the window. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna look hot. All right. And the bottom, this part right here, will wrap underneath whatever we put under this. So Alright, so that's a good start with that. Before we do that, now that that's actually going to put that vine piece behind this heap of trash over here, I don't even know what this is. We are going to need to remove this. So, let's get down to business. Not you, not you. That'll be you. Okay. Let's pull these and pull. You know what? I think we're going to group the windows real quick. Sorry, I'm going all ADD and autism on you. But I'm catching things as I'm going along here, and we probably could use a little bit of organization. Right, windows. Now that you guys have seen that there's 20 layers of this monster, let's go ahead and organize it a little bit so we can breeze through this. We're going to make this the left windows. These are our walls. Wall. Is that wall top? I think that's wall top. Wall top. Yes. Wall bottom. That's going to be our background plants. This is going to be our tree. Now, a lot of times I won't necessarily run through and name all the layers because I know what I'm looking at by looking at it. But for you guys to actually look at, it probably wouldn't be the worst idea for me to do that for you. New habits, new habits. I'll do that when I'm sending full Photoshop layered files to clients. If they pay for those and they request those, then you go through the entire your entire layer list and kind of organize things and block things off so it's easier for them to edit them as you go forward. But for me, I look at this and I know what these all are just by I built it, so I know where they are. Right corner cover. So this is mostly for you guys. What is that? Brick patch 1. Brick patch 2. Obviously, if you were doing this, you could name them whatever you want. Alright, and this is Lorena. Bottom. Lorena top. Plant overlay. Alright, and that is our background, which I am now going to put a lock on so it doesn't move. We have 2 items here at the bottom, and we're going to drop those into our unused folder. So we keep those just in case. You never know when you'll need that. Tricks you learn along the way as a graphic designer. Sometimes you save things just in case 6 months later a client comes back to you and goes, hey, remember that thing that you did for me? Could you edit this one piece over here? Because I'm going to use it for this over here, which is not the purpose that I paid you to do it for. But that's what I'm going to do. So I need you to do this thing. And the only way for me to do that and not spend a whole day redoing the entire project is to have the right layers available for me just to click on, click off, and pull back something from the past that I've edited since then, just to make those minor changes for whatever their purpose is, and hand it back to them. If I don't have those files, I've got to, sometimes you got to start all over. I've had to start all over, so that's how you learn. That's how you learn to do things like this. Back up a couple of pieces that are major to the entire work that you're working on, just in case, kids. Just in case. Got to CYA. All right, so now that everything is kind of named here, let's go ahead and save our file because I am horrible at that. I can't tell you how many times I have completely lost things. Not with Wonderland, but previous projects where I've lost things and I've had to start completely over. You're talking 2-3 day projects where you just wipe the whole thing out. Yeah, it's a little rough. But the one good thing about that is that unlike in school when you're writing your papers and your computer shuts off and you lose everything that you were working on, remembering everything that you wrote down is not quite the same as remembering how you rebuilt an image. Because I kind of have the visual memory of it. So I remember, okay, this piece went here, this piece went here. A few minor things may end up changing because, memory is always foggy. For the most part, I can probably recreate it given the same amount of time and the same resources. So it's not, the time losses kind of sucks, but other than that, you can get around it once you get fairly decent at this and start kind of remembering what it is that you did. All right, now we got everything labeled. Let's throw out the trash here. Where are you at? You are our background plants, right? All right, so we just want to get rid of this section here and put something else in its place. So it may just be easier to straight up cut this out. So let's try it. Let's just go ahead and chop that. Boom. All right. And now we should be able to replace that with something else. So, I'm a little concerned about how this overgrowth looks. Obviously, we'll fix whatever this is in the middle here. But it needs to look naturally overgrown. And we've got a particular perspective going on here where you're standing far enough away where you can see all these windows. So that means that you're looking across the property from probably, 30 feet away? Something like that. You're far enough distance to where you can see all these windows, you can see what's in these windows, you can end up seeing Lorena. So you're gonna have to see like the wedging of all of the different weeds, grass, flora, fauna of Wonderland. So I feel like what we may have to do is we may have to layer this. And I don't mean layer it as in like Photoshop layer it. I mean layer it as in like this strip back here is a layer, and then this right here kind of looks like it's in front of whatever this is. And when we drop Lorena in there, see, she's sitting in the middle of it. So like she's behind where the tree is, but she's in and behind this, but she's kind of in front of these to a degree. Or no, I guess she's behind these, but these are all kind of gathering into this tree, and she's sitting in this little crook. So she's kind of among the flowers. If we're doing that and we're making this three-dimensional enough, then everything that is underneath here is going to end up being closer to the person that is viewing this. So we need to make sure that when we design it, we're adding those layers forward and we're viewing it almost like I don't know if you guys remember when, I mean, at least when I was a kid, at some point in time in school, we had to do diorama. You know what those are? It's like you had to get like a shoebox and you had to build a little scene inside of it. And sometimes, like because the shoebox was deep, you could put things kind of with a different depth to them and use that perspective to create whatever thing you were trying to create. This is the same kind of thing, but we're just doing it on a two-dimensional sheet of paper or a digital two-dimensional sheet of paper. So we're giving the sheet dimensions as we go along, but it's not really there. It's all one flat image. Not even sure if that's going to translate when we move this over to full watercolor, but we'll see. That's why they call it a work of art, because there is work involved. All right. Why does this thing keep popping up? Okay. What happened? Where did my plant cover go? Did I delete the wrong thing? I did. That's what I did. Okay. Right? Background plants? I know. Okay, there it is. All right, right. We're using that. Let's turn Lorena off. Okay. Back to where we want to be. Back to where we want to be. All right. So we're going to have to layer a little bit further down. We know that already. What do we want to do with this section here? Because we're going to put this vine. All right. As you see, bottom of that vine is going to come down. Bottom of that vine is going to come down right behind where this is right here. Just right behind this little piece. So all of this that's down here is not going to be seen. It's going to be behind that. So the way for us to use that to our advantage, yeah, that's what the window is. You want to put it up too high. So that actually gives us the ability to not go too crazy on this side. Like this is fine, the way this edging is fine. We just need to fix this and cover over this. So this is okay, because we'll put the vine here and we'll put some vines growing up here, some smaller ones. So that will show you that the vines are coming like from this plant life. We don't have to build this up too high by itself. All right, so what we're going to do then is we're going to go back over to our mid-journey and go back over here. We did get some more plantas. What do we got? These are pretty. Let's see, is that going to work in there? Yeah, I think if we take this part right here and this will merge pretty well with what we've got over here. We can merge that behind it. This section will be all of this right here, which is very pretty. And then we get our vines kind of going up already out of this image. And we'll have our vine coming out here. So yeah, I think we can merge all that together. And see, that's how it works. Like, you kind of have to see it in your head before you put it on there, just to give it, I mean, you don't have to see the whole thing, just, just kind of a silhouette outline of where things should go, and kind of go from there. And we march on. All right, so we're going to copy this guy. We're going to toss him in here. And we're going to line that up to right about there. trick we did before where we make it opaque so we can see what it covers. I think that's going to work great. Yeah. We'll actually end up using more of it because we'll take this part out here and keep it up front because this is such a mess. So we'll take this whole thing, this whole piece, and kind of cut right around here. Yeah, that should work. Let's see. Try to look at it this way. So this is 50% opacity. Opacity. I say opacity. It's 50% transparent. Now here's our vine, also 50% transparent. Can you kind of see how it's gonna flow together? It's a little hard to see right there because the vine kind of chokes off, but they're gonna have it come up here and go all along this thing. Now this is the thing. This is the detail work that has to get done, that when you look at the whole image, you just think, oh, that's part of the whole image. No, I got to take half an hour and build that. Like, that's how that gets done, because it's not in the original image. We're layering this whole thing like we're building a scene in a movie. Like, that's how you do it. All right. On that note, let's get to it. All right, we know what we're planning on keeping. We relatively know how it's going to fit in here. So it's time for our favorite thing. It is time for the mask. All right, we've masked. And here we go. Let's start making shit disappear. And yeah, the bricks won't line up perfect. That's fine. I'll clear the bricks. I'm not so much worried about that. I know that, you may think some sections are a little haphazard. They are kind of by nature, because we're merging so many pieces together, and we're trying to not do this and have it take 3 years. We're trying to do it, in a few days. We have to kind of manage how much effort we put into what. And while my eye is always on the little details of this, there are things that I'm aware of that in the finished product you're not going to notice. Once I get done with it, you're going to know that that's a brick wall or a stone wall or some kind of wall, made out of something similar to that. But it's going to be so watercolor painted, that you're just getting the essence of, oh, that's just that's the wall of the building. No one's going to look at it and start getting into structural engineering and what the mineral content of bricks were in the late 19th century, early 20th century when they were building these buildings, or whenever probably before that. They're probably all done in the 1600s, 1800s, something like that. However, no one's doing that on this image. So as long as you get the general ennui of, or je ne sais quoi, I guess is the right word, French phrase, of this is a brick wall. It doesn't have to be specific all the way across. I just want you to get the idea and pay more attention to what's in the windows. The wall is going to, trust me, the wall's going to disappear once you put the vines on it. Once we get the vignettes in the windows, the wall is just going to be a wall. It's not going to be anything special. So I'm not super concerned about the detail of that, because what we end up doing is, once we get the whole thing done and we make sure that our watercolor styling and patina is over the entire image, Then we go back and look, okay, where are the places where we're seeing specifically that this is a stone or brick wall? Let's make sure that those are clean. Let's make sure that that is cleanly visible and works the way that it's supposed to. That's when you go back and check that, because right now you're just trying to get the pieces in the right places and have it and have the image kind of take shape as you go along. That is what we are up to. Look at how that fits into the wall. Isn't that pretty? Alright, we're going to get rid of their wall here and use our wall behind that. That is friggin' perfect. Could not have made it better myself. Oh wait, I did make it better myself. Well. Alright, we're going to get rid of all that. And also, I'm sure that there are 9 million different ways that you can use Photoshop and do the same kind of thing that I'm doing. Again, not formally trained. I've been doing this for 20 years professionally. I learned all of this completely on my own. I didn't watch YouTube. I didn't go to school. I didn't have time for that. I was trying to make money. I was trying to survive back then. So I started designing so it could be a full-time job. And if any of you out there know anything about running your own business and starting your own career and trying to survive on that these days, that is not an easy game. That's not an easy game to play. So for a while there, we were just trying to make it work. And you got to kind of learn on the fly. So I learned quite a lot about graphic design by having to do it and get it done for a paying client. Nothing like trial by fire, kids. Nothing like trial by fire. Alright, so as you see, we are fading out our foliage over here. Starting to come together. This is fine. Here we go. This is where the detail comes into play. You want to make sure that your blend is as accurate as possible. Do not leave out shadows. Shadows are important, folks. I can't tell you how many times I've seen work done by people and the shadows are either incorrect or they're not even there. So you do realize that we all have shadows. Like everything has it. So you can't be making that not exist in your imaging. Alright, there we go. That looks pretty good. This little area over here is a little crinkly. A little crunchy. Let's figure out what's going on here. So we blended that in. We can blend all of this. We don't need that. That's fine. Let's do that. The devil is in the details. So that's where I'm hanging out, in the details. Alright, get rid of this, get rid of that. Leaving little pieces everywhere that don't need to be left. Let's not be sloppy. That is one of the tricks, guys, is and I understand it. I understand the argument that that when you're using AI art, a lot of it is super sloppy. It's not. I mean, I guess that's where they get the term AI slop. I guess that makes sense. Um, it's trying to give you the general idea of what you were asking for in your prompt. Um, and in doing that, it loses a lot of the specifics. Um, that is kind of how it works at this stage. I'm sure if you're paying for the top level, top tier stuff, um, that you may have to deal with less of that. But for the most part, the rest of us here that are using just the tools accessible to the masses uh, still have to do it the hard way. Um, and that's kind of where that whole argument of oh, you use AI, isn't that cheating? Um, I guess to somebody who isn't familiar with how any of this actually works or how any of it's done on the back end, I guess that kind of does make sense because you feel like it's doing the job for you or it's doing it better than what necessarily you're able to do. But it's actually one of those things that kind of all evens out in the wash because even though it is doing a ton of work for you and it's able to, like I said, like 70% build what it is that you're looking for, you still have to be able to do the other 30% in order for it to be a viable product, in order for anybody to even use it. Um, or you're going to be able to tell that it's AI. And even, a lot of times now you can see things that are done and you're like, oh, that's 100% AI. It's too clean, it's too aggressive and in your face at how like HD quality it is. I get all that. Totally understand. That's there specifically to market to the masses. That's not the way that real creators, whether you're in the movie industry, whether these guys in Hollywood that are having to deal with AI movies coming out and, thinking that they're going to lose their entire industry because AI is able to, cut production and, who needs actors when you can put everything in digital? Eh, you're still going to need actors. You're still going to need digital processing. You're still going to need CGI. AI is a tool. It's just another hammer in your toolkit to bang things with when the other tools don't work. Like it has its uses. It has certain things that it's really good at and will save you some time, but it is far from being at a point where you can just take whatever it gives you and just throw it on film or on any product and go, that's it, we're done. And I'm sure there are people out there doing that because there's always people out there trying to take shortcuts and shit. I'm just not one of them. It's not my style. I want to know that what I'm putting out is as good a product as I can physically put out. And if that means, hey, use some AI and get some high quality imaging out of it, because you're not going to get some of this stuff that we're building, a lot of it actually, um, in clip art. We're going to have to build quite a bit. So that's why we're building quite a bit. I tend to use the word building with this rather than designing because what you're looking at is me building this piece of artwork. And when you take this cover and you put it with the other 14 covers, or the other 13 covers that go with this, we're building that. A design is just how we want this image to look. Putting all that together requires structure. And now you're talking about engineering and building, which is where we're at with this. So it is a slightly different thing. And AI is just a little, like you see, it's just a little piece of it. I still have to put all of this together. Because prompting to get this image, good luck. You'll be here for weeks just trying to get something that's closely similar to this. And you already have to have the idea in your head of exactly how you want it to look, which we don't most of the time. So you're going to have to build it as you go. Anyway, back to our foliage. How do we look here? This looks pretty good. Dun, 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 dun. I think it still looks a little put together here. So let's here we go. I think this all matches up fine. Let's get rid of this stuff here. Take the stuff off the windows and whatever extra we have here. That's fine. Yeah, you do a lot of this. You do a lot of clicking layers on and off so you can see different parts of it and where it interacts with the background and what you need to edit. So there's quite a lot of flipping back and forth between layers there. And we're going to cover that with vines anyway, so. All right. So I think we have a new, let's get that out of the window. That's our new vine, or new plants there, so plant, overlay, vines. We'll start with that. Sneaking up on our first hour on this bad boy. Now we've got our vinage. It's going to go behind that, so there you go. Look at that bad boy. Now this one, I'm going to start fading with a little bit of transparency just so I can catch where the windows are at, because I don't want to get too close to this and mess it up, but I do want to get as much of this left side, as much of this out of the way as possible before I start doing detail work and laying it down. Let's look and see if we're lucky enough that a blend layer works. Look at that. That might not be a bad idea. Think we should do that. Think we should double overlay it. A double overlay. I think we might. Think we might double overlay it. Some things, that's the way to go. I don't know if screening. I think we can go with lighten because we're going to end up having to put the other layer on top of it anyway. So, like, what's the fucking point? Alright, here we go, here we go. Far. Let's do Vine. Far right. Now, I'll be honest with you. Not every design is this complicated. Some of them are, some of them are not. It's kind of a crapshoot. You don't know exactly how difficult something's going to be until you get into it. There have been designs that I've done over the years where you're talking hundreds and hundreds of layers because that's just what it took to get that particular project in place to a point where the client was happy with it, and it served the purpose that it was there for. And then sometimes you can knock it out with, a handful of layers, and everything is exactly the way it should be. It really does vary, based on the product. Like the last cover we did, although it did take some time to put together, I don't think it was quite this many layers. I think this one is a little more complicated to put together than Module 1's cover, because there was kind of a I don't want to say there was kind of a singular purpose with that, and there isn't with this, because that's not really the case. It's more that there's a lot more going on with this cover than there was with that one. You're really meant to just see her walking through the archway and seeing Wonderland beyond that, as just kind of an entrance to the world. This is going to have, like, these vignettes that are in here. You're going to have that going on. You're going to have this weird flora and fauna that you're not used to. You're going to have this character, Lorena, over in the corner that you may not be familiar with yet. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot going on in this, so sure, it's gonna be a little more difficult to put together and take a little bit more time. That makes sense. All right, so every once in a while, you gotta check and make sure you're fading things out right. There we go. Bob Ross used to say, "Happy little trees." I've got eerie little windows. Eerie little windows. There we go. Slide this bad boy over here a little bit so we can work on him. Looking all crooked at the screen. You can't really see any of those on there anyway. Alright, so it's just that. Cool. Cool. Alright, we're going to save this little piece right here. And that's going to be the edge of that. Alright, we can take all this out. This is all unnecessary garbage. Unnecessary. Right. This can go. Definitely want our windows to be clear. That's going to be the fun part. We should be getting to that today. I'd really like to have this cover done today, because this has already taken way longer than it should have. And again, that's fine. You part of this gig is not knowing 100% how long something's going to take. And it's also a little trickier because there's no deadline. Other than me knowing that I need to get this done, there's nobody telling me that I have to get this done today, tomorrow, next week. That is one of the things that you learn, kind of running your own show and running your own shop. I've done it. I've been on my own since 2004, 6, somewhere in there. I think 2006. 2006. And I have been a contract designer ever since. Well, I was working in nightlife at that point in time. I didn't go full contract designer until like 2013, 14, somewhere in there. I was still designing during that time, but I wasn't. It wasn't full time. It was just for events and whatnot. And then like on the side for extra cash. I mean, I looked at it as most of the work that I had to do, as far as, marketing, promotions, setting up events, things like that. That shit happens at night. Design, dealing with clients, actually doing the design work, kind of a daytime activity for most people. So I was kind of able to do both at the same time and merge them together in my life, to be able to, make some money on both. Doing that gig economy before there was a gig economy. So, that is very dark over there. We should probably lighten that up a bit. Oh, it's not even lighten upable. Okay. Well, that's helpful. Alright, we got our window here. Let's clean that up. Yeah, this is just the base layer. We want to have this here. So when we go to fade in the full color version, so you can see the whole thing, we want that there just in case you go over a fade or blend too far or anything like that. You're still going to have the edge of this vine. You're still going to have an outline of it, so you won't be missing a lot of pieces, and it won't look like it was faded in. It'll still look like it was there because it still has like a light base underneath it. It's not exactly like painting, but it's something similar to where you'll see painters spend a bunch of time taking a white canvas and painting this what looks like a somewhat erratic background on it. They paint that there because they're layering in their head, so they paint the whole canvas with that because that needs to be their base background, and then everything else ends up getting layered on top of it. Digital designers work the same way. Same concept. All right, so we kind of have this where we want it. Although I personally think painting is way more difficult than this. Used to paint a little bit when I was younger, but didn't exactly have the time for that over the years. I'd like to get to it at some point. Throw together some actual art. Alright, and now we duplicate this layer. Keep it real. Yeah, and get rid of everything. Get rid of the mask. And new mask. Second mask. All right. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you guys this early and often because it gets said to me a fair amount, and I don't mind, but I want to make the delineation because I don't necessarily agree with it. I've had people over the years call me an artist. I do not consider myself an artist. I am a digital graphic designer. I creative, sure. Um, I believe that that term is very specific in what it means when you call someone an artist. Um, and I think that if you want to use digital artist, that's a little bit closer. But artist has always, at least up until very recently, meant someone that was creating something out of nothing by hand. And yes, I use my hand. We've already had that discussion. Um, so I get that part of it, but I have never thought of myself as an artist because this is just digital design. Sure, I'm a creative. I have to be creative. It's part of the job. Um, and that creativity is also something that artists have, but I don't know that this particular medium and exactly how I'm using it and what I'm using it for, as far as creating products, building brands, marketing material. Hey, art. That's not. I don't really think I'm creating art now. This is entirely different. This is a lot more. This is a lot closer to creating art. This is kind of an art piece, and that's kind of how I want to uh, build this entire universe. Um, but I don't know if I'm an artist, guys. That's not really my. I prefer being called a graphic designer. Um, you want to call me a digital designer? That's fine. You want to call me a creator? That's fine. Um, the artist is just it hits me weird. I think it's because I came up in nightlife and I worked with this. So DJs come in a couple different forms. There are guys that produce, they create their own music, and they play their own tracks, and they do that live. Um, that's closer to being an artist than somebody that just plays somebody else's tracks and mixes them live. I'm sorry, I was part of that industry for quite a long time. I worked with a lot of big names and a lot of professional guys that are touring all over the world, and some of them would consider themselves artists. Some of them consider themselves producers. Some of them consider themselves DJs. Um, you making the tracks that you're playing is a different thing than you going out there and just playing shit. You going out there and playing shit is a DJ. You producing music, playing your own music, that's an artist producer. Especially if you're up for Grammys and crap like that. Um, that is what that is. But when you just walk up to some decks and you're playing other people's tracks and want somebody to call you an artist, I have a problem with that because you're not. You're not creating anything new. You're not. Yeah, I mean you kind of are. You're creating new music because you're blending and you're remixing and whatever. And I get all that. Um, but you don't actually know how to play any instruments. Like you didn't make any of those sounds. Um, I find it very hard to call somebody an artist when you're cutting that many corners. I understand the cutting corners with digital equipment because I follow musicians and artists. That's kind of my rabbit hole. outside of design is music. And um, there's an argument going on right now that we'll probably never get to graphic designers, because we're not the most important people on the planet or anything. But it is being talked about, when it comes to uh, music, is that there are performers and then there are singers, and those are not the same people. Just like there are artists and there are graphic designers, not the same people. I've got a friend up north that is a painter. Now, that is not his main job, but he is extremely good at it. He's been doing it for some time, and that's what he uses to relax. But he's done it for so long, and he's gotten so good at it, that he is actually a uh, uh, I don't know what the right term for it is. They don't have recording artists. He's a someone who's been paid for their paintings. People actually buy his work. Um, so I don't know what the title is for that, what that makes you in that world, but he's at that point, and that's an actual artist. What I'm doing here, I guess to some people, could be considered art. It's a slightly different medium, um, but I just don't consider myself in the same realm as him. He's painting something on canvas that, by hand with colored paints, with oils. I don't know. There's just something about that says, okay, that's an actual artist, and what you're doing is IT. There we go. Got a little vine action going on there. It didn't really go across the bottom window as much as I would have liked it to, but that's okay. We do have to kind of fade it a bit and keep it real with the brick. Anyway, there's an argument going on with in the music industry, the difference between performing artists and art and actual singers. And part of that argument is artists like J Lo and like Hilary Duff and Britney Spears and things like that. Um, they're great. They're amazing. Katy Perry's one of them too. Um, uh, there's a lot of male acts and bands and whatnot. They're the same way. It's just those are the names that came to the top of my head. You go to see them for a show. When it comes to recording an album and going, wow, she can sang with an A. She can really, rip it up. And those aren't the names that come to mind. You start thinking of Whitney Houston and Adele and Celine Dion and voices like that Mariah Carey. You can't beat up Mariah Carey. That woman can sing the stickers off a refrigerator. Like, that's an entirely different thing. So you can't group them together. You can't say that they're singers, and you have to say they're singers and recording artists. You can't run around just saying you're an artist because you perform on a stage. That's not exactly how that works. Um, at least in my mind, just my opinion. Um, and because that's the way that I see that, I put myself in that same boat. Um, I'm not over here. Trying to be Banksy. Like, that's not my goal. Um, do I want to make pretty things? 100%. Is it great that some people qualify that as art? Sure, it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Um, but I'm just not personally a big fan of being called an artist. It's not. I don't think I live up to that name. I'll go with I'll go with creative. We'll stick with that. There we go. We've cleaned out quite a bit of these. We got our branches going. Yeah. Yeah. All right. This window is going to be not fun because we're going to have to dig in between these branches and even this out. Trust me, you don't want to do it. I don't mind doing it, but you don't want to do it. Because it is not fun. And feel free to give me shit for designing with my mouth open, because I know I do that. I don't know why that, I don't know why I started doing that, but it seems to work. Yeah, we may have to go in and, maybe we do that. Maybe we just don't fully run that. Alright, so I just turned the transparency up a bit on this, or I'm sorry, turn it down a bit. As you see, it kind of fades out there. So if we do that and we keep it like 90%, it's not quite as dark and it's a little bit easier to navigate. So we're going to stick with that. So you want to get the sill here and you want to get some of the wall. So you can tell that it's kind of crawling up that wall. Here we go. And I wish that I could tell you that there is some, like, exact method to blending and masking, and this is the way you do it. You do this step, then you do that step, then you do. It's not how it works. You put a mask on, it's a free for all. You're on your own. You just have to be careful about how far your mask goes, what it's touching, and exactly how you're blending. Because you can see, like, I took long swipes to blend up to this particular vine, but once you when you do that, you start getting the fading in front of it. That's, you know, it's a little bit of shadow, and that's fine. But when you want to clean it up 100%, it's hard to do that with a gradient brush or trying to fade it. It's not built for that. You're gonna wanna get your eraser out or your pencil out or whatever and start doing it by hand. That's the only way you're gonna get that done. This is the detail work that people don't like to do because it does take time. But you got to get in here inside these vines and remind it that there's a brick background going on over here already. And that it just lays on top of it. You want to be able to see the brick through the vines. And see what we may end up doing is, this is all black. We should probably just get rid of the black. What do you think? It's so dark. So dark and unnecessary. Let's take a look and see where we're at. Alright, so first things first, let's go down here. We did not get all of this out of the way. So let's get that out of the way. I don't know what's going on down there. Get rid of all the extra bafangul. Darkening the window. Okay. Okay. There's a little drink here. Check the time. We're at 1:20. Not too bad. Oh, let's look at the chat. We missed a few people. That strange high-pitched sound is probably the fan on the laptop. We'll turn that off. High-pitched sound might be the fan. Fan on the laptop. Just turned it off. I don't know how do you reply? Oh, I guess you reply directly there, isn't there? Okay. Let's do that. Just learning this chat, kids. Not sure how we use it. Everybody's different. Strange emotes. We got a new viewer in the chat. Del Roran. You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce that. I'm not sure how that is. That's as close as I can get. Yeah, I don't really consider myself a commissioned artist. I'm more of a starving one. As wifey likes to refer to me. Alright, let's get rid of that. Actually, you know what? We'll leave that. That was kind of showing some brickwork there. Alright, what we want to do is we want to... Well, thanks for watching, guys. I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but it seems to be interesting to some people. I was telling Philip this the other day. He was telling me, "Oh no, you know this is interesting to people. They'll watch it. They want to see the behind the scenes of what you're doing, blah blah blah." And I didn't believe him. And then I got stuck watching a a reel for like 10 minutes of a tattoo artist that was drawing a entire sleeve on somebody just with a very detailed tipped pen, like ink pen. He wasn't actually tattooing. He was just drawing it blind all the way up this guy's arm. And I just sat there for 15 minutes watching that whole thing for absolutely no reason other than that was just like mental ASMR or something. I don't know how exactly I took that, but that's kind of the way it felt. And as soon as I got done watching that video, it clicked. I was like, oh, I'm that guy. All right, I get it. Whatever works for you, kids. All right, get this little cleaned up here. Got a little too much darkness. There's too much darkness. And we may add some more vinage up here in a bit to this particular area, but right now I just want to get this piece in and see how it blends with the rest of the total image. There we go. You don't have to get all the black out, just enough to where you can see some of the brick through there. You don't want to get it all out because, like I said earlier, you do want some of the shading. Shading is importante. I feel like that's bullshit, so we should just get rid of that. This is looking a little bullshittery in here. What are you? You are not that thing. So let's get rid of whatever that is. Not sure why that's there. Not sure why we left that, but we did. Little nugget of tree. Yo, that's not good. Why does that feel like that's not fading very well? It really isn't. Oh, you know what? No, it's not from that. I thought it was from that. Just missed a couple areas. Got to go back and hit some stuff. Oh, I guess you can see the brick through there. Yeah, we may have to cover over a little bit of that. But let's zoom out. Take a look here. Look at that. We got some vines. There is some vinage on the side there. Does it look legitimate? I think it does until you get to this window here. I think the window needs to be showing the full Monty with that branch. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, here's a good one for you. We're gonna have to go in and actually erase around this branch because as you can see, when you zoom in super close, you see how it's blurry all along this outside line? That's because of all the fading that we're doing into it. It's kind of faded along the edge there, and the only way to fix that is to actually go in and cut it yourself. And you can have a little bit of fade on one side, but you do need to, like, you need to keep it to a minimum, because like you get over here and this just looks muddy. It looks like you didn't do your job right. So we want to kind of stay away from that, and we're trying to show off that this is in that window pane, or in front of that window pane. So you don't want to get too crazy. But as we zoom in here and we start working on this, getting these little tiny angles is important, because that's what adds to the realism of it. If you leave those angles alone, like if I left this the way it is and zoomed out, right here you're not really going to be able to tell. No one's looking at that particular branch specifically and going, oh, something's off. But if I zoom in and I go to 100%, what exactly is going on in this corner here? What are we doing? So you want it to be detailed enough to where it looks intentional. That looks all right. We're going to get rid of this down there too, because that looks a little bit shady. Just a little on the blurry side. You don't want things being that blurry in certain places. There's a time and a place for definition. There are certain cuts that you need to see as harsher, because that actually defines what you're looking at. And if it's not a harsh cut and everything is blended together, you're gonna kind of, that was kind of muddy. Doesn't look like it was very well done. That happens a lot. And like, I don't know if you can see it from here. This branch right here, this bad boy. So if you zoom in close enough, you'll be able to see that there's a little bit of like white, like a little light gray edge to that. That's because it was faded up. It wasn't cut out of whatever it was originally in. And a lot of times you will see graphic designers leave that light edge there. That's one of those things where I look at that piece of work, and if I see those light edges on something, I go, you're an amateur. You, my friend, are not a pro, because pros would not do that. Because now, when you zoom back, those particular branches, this one here and this one here, even though they're still silhouettes, they look more defined, and you don't have that weird faded shadow there that's not really a shadow. All right. That does not look too bad, kids. What do we think? All right. Grab a little drink here, and let's save. Try to save as often as possible, because like moi, you close things and forget you didn't save. All right. Time for Vine. All right, so we use that one. We got all kinds of vines up here. Let's see what we got. Well, that's very Thin and tall. Where can we put you? So that kind of looks more like a tree to me. So it's going to have to be mixed with other stuff. Like this grew up the wall and like underneath the window there. That's a good one. Where would we put that? I think we take this one. I mean, I definitely think we take this one. I think we take this one and put it like here along this side of the window. Because this will wrap in between the windows right here. It'll cover over that one a bit, and then make sure I got that right. Yeah, and then it goes up here, and we can kind of extend that, put it behind the tree, have it go over this window too, so it's kind of wrapped around it, and it kind of runs down here, and we'll put a bunch of other vines over here. See, the real key when doing something like this is you don't know how the vines are going to look on the wall, but what you want to make sure is like, especially with like the stuff we have here on the right, you want to make sure that it looks realistic, and you get the things that the human eye is going to go to first when you see vines on a wall. Your brain, like subconsciously, you don't even know you're doing it, you're going to look at that, and if I have a bunch of vines over here and I have a bunch of vines over here, and there's nothing wrapped around the windows, you're going to look at that and go, that's fake. That's not how vines grow. I've never seen a house that had vines ripped all over the outside walls where shit was just clean around the windows. That's not how real life works. It needs to look as realistic, and as wonderlistic, down here at the bottom, as possible. So it's important that we get the vines that go around the windows and the edging first, because everything else you can kind of slapdash on top of the rest of the wall, and it doesn't matter. It, like, what direction it goes in, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, doesn't matter. As long as it's there and it looks real, that's all that matters. But getting it around the window and getting those edging and that coverage, so it looks like it realistically grows, that's the first trick. So I think this will work well for that. Let's grab it. All right, we got vine far right, copy. Oh, that's top and bottom. You are. Let's name this real quick. Top. You are the bottom, right? Yes. The bottom. And now that we're doing this, that planter blade is there, but this planter blade is there. Where's that one? That can't be on top. It's got to be underneath it. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of grouping the vines together in one folder, but if I do that, they won't be layered right in the image, because some of them have to be behind certain things and some of them have to be above certain things. So I was trying to make it easier to view for someone, but there's going to be some plant overlays and some vine overlays and underlays that are kind of integral to the way it looks, so I can't really do that right now. Instead, let's go ahead and slap our next piece of vine in here. Let's take a look at where we're putting it. We're going to wrap it around those windows there. So the most important thing, logistics wise, for where this is going to go is we want to make sure that this area here and this corner is going to fit like right there. We want that, where's the edging, right there, like right there, maybe a little bit more in, right And like I said before, that's much shorter. It's only going to come up halfway to that window. We want this up here. It looks like it covers over the top of that window, and it will cover the bottom edge. I don't know that that sill is close enough, or just close enough to the sill. Yeah, that's going to leave wall there. That's not going to be there anyway. That's kind of in the right spot. Okay, so let's move this over just a bit. Oops, my bad. My bad. Move this over just a smidge. And now look at it. Alright, that should work alright. We're going to chop that and put that up there. That runs along that window. Okay. Okay. Alright, I think that'll work. Alright, what we are going to do though is we are going to chop out, before we do anything else, we're going to chop out this piece. Just copied it because we're going to want it up here. We're going to want it over this, like right about there, I think. Yeah, right about there is good. Alright, so now we have the two pieces. So when we start cutting this layer up, we'll fade all this down to right about here, and then we'll take the other piece that we chopped up and put it up top. And then we'll connect those two later, so it's all one thing. Yeah, we'll connect that, and that should be fine. All right, guys, we've been going for about an hour, 45 minutes. Let's check the phone real quick. I have a meeting at 6. We got quite a while away. All right, doing that. All right, we're going to take a little break, grab a little lunch, take me about 15-20 minutes, and then I will be back. So hang tight, and we will see you in a bit. And we're back! Whee! Really got to get some sound effects for this thing. That really is going to have to be a project. Get some noises in the background, some crowd. Be fucking awesome. All right, back to what we were doing. We were doing vines. We're getting viney. All right. So we have this very interesting picture here. We're going to wrap these vines around that. Let's remove our foliage because it's in my fucking way. No, that's fine. That's fine. We're gonna need that. All right. So, as we have done many times before, it's time for the mask. All right. There's my gradient tool. We probably want to put this at about 50-ish. I'm never super specific when I'm using transparency. See what you see. Okay, let's put it right about Right about there looks right. Get some tunes going on. Oh, that's dead. Okay. It's kind of warm. All right. Tunes. Okay. A little bit of fading. We're not going to need any of this. Oh, we're on 27%. Let's fix that garbage. One of the interesting things about being a designer is there are no two of us that are alike. We all do things different ways. We all use different tools. There's so many out there, so you can use whatever you feel like on any given day. Which I find interesting because I actually once went on an interview where I was asked what my favorite application was. Now, I'm kind of old and I've been interviewing for a while. I've never been asked that question before in my life. What's more interesting is I answered truthfully. I'm better at Photoshop than most other applications. They spend more time in it. That kind of follows. I definitely have done the 10,000 hours or whatever they call that to become a expert at whatever your subject is. I think they call it 10,000 hours. I've done 20 years, so I think that qualifies. But I did not get that contract because I said Photoshop, and apparently the answer to what is your favorite application is actually Illustrator. Did not know that. That just goes to show you. Everybody's different. All right, so we've got most of this covered. Let's zoom back out a little bit. We don't need all of that, so we can get rid of this. Here we go. Clean up a little bit around this. Did we even check and see if this would look good if we just blended it? I don't remember if we did. So we're going to find that out right now. Like, that's not bad. It's a little dark, but that's not bad either. Don't want to overlay it. My mouse is a little sensitive today. That's not bad. That's all right. And nope. So if we darken it and we zoom back out, come on. Let's take a look at this. How does that look compared to this over here? If we're looking at both, this fine and this fine. And you got some coloration there. This is much darker. You probably want to leave this. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to want it normal. Although darkening it may give us that base that we were looking for, so we may just want to do that. Let's do both. Let's double overlay it. What do you think about that? I think I like that one better, honestly. Is that cleaner? No, it's the same. Never understood why darken and darker color are two different blend modes in Photoshop. Yet every single time you get the same result. Like well, I guess that's a little more green. I see a little more green in here than there. That's a little more gray. I guess it sucks some of the color out. All right, so maybe I was wrong about that. All right, so we're gonna go with darken on that. We are gonna double overlay this, just because we can. And it'll probably be safer that way in the long run. All right. Where did I put all my phones in my pocket? Yes. Thanks for lunch, wifey. Wifey's the best. She was literally going to walk in here and yell at me like my mom. You need to eat.
I heard that.
You should have heard that. I said it loud enough for you to hear it. They heard it. I realized that I designed my mouth open.
You do.
I don't know why.
Keep it up. I'll just throw Pop-Tarts at you next time.
Hey, don't insult the tarts. We don't actually have any Pop-Tarts in the house. I don't eat that shit. All right, let's get rid of this green here. Even though I like the green, it is not. It is not for this. All right, and this window that you see there is not our window. That is the window that came with this thing. Actually, let's just get rid of all this because that's going to be in the way of that window, and I don't like that very much. I'm going to keep that. Just like everything else in life, boys and girls, designing is just choices after choices after choices after choices. I know the actors talk about it all the time. How you go into a movie set and you're told what you're doing, what you're playing, you get your lines, blah blah blah, and then you have to sit there and make choices, make decisions about how this character is going to sound and how they're going to act and where their hands are going to be and how close they're going to be staying to the person they're talking to, and all those little things matter when you're doing the actual art form, I would imagine. It's very similar with this. You have to make choices. At any given time, I could go completely to the left and ruin this whole thing. You just have to kind of lead with your gut and hope that works. Some gut, some experience, some creative juices. All of that goes into the final product. All right, here we go. So we are going to talk a little bit about what other things are going on in the world of Wonderland, because as far as you guys are concerned, you're just seeing me work on this stuff. We've got a whole production going on here, kids. I just got to catch a video from what is going to be our official playtesting team. Our official DM, Ryan, held their first conversation about setting up and getting their characters squared away and touching down in Wonderland. Phil and I are very excited to watch them play test and play. We've done quite a bit of play testing so far on Module 1. We saw one of our teams do Module 2 a few weeks back. That team is going to be playing Module 3 coming up shortly. And our official team is going to do a Session 0 run and put their characters together and get all that stuff done shortly. The great part about our official team is that is going to be fully recorded and produced. Ryan's going to be doing most of that. I may step in a little bit and stick my fingers in where needed. But otherwise, that's going to be his ball game. And once we actually do the competitive campaign post Kickstarter, and the competitive campaign is online and everyone's playing, once you finish Module 1 in the competitive campaign and the portal closes and all the responses from all the players nationwide are in, and the leaderboard is updated, the votes are tallied, and all that fun stuff, we will drop the first episode of our official team playing. You'll see them play test. You'll get to watch them do the whole thing, and see what they did on the module that you just completed. We're going to do that all 14 times. So these guys are ready. The fun part for Phil and I, obviously, is to watch these guys in action. But what makes it even better, at least for the production aspect of it, is all of these guys. I believe all of them are out in LA, but they all work are all theater guys, theater kids, actors, actresses. They're all very interested in doing the improv and the bits and making their characters incredibly interesting. So I'm very intrigued as to how that's going to go down, because I don't get the impression that a lot of D&D teams are made up of theater geeks, and I think that's going to be a very very interesting mix that we have in there that could potentially be catastrophic, which is what we're all about here at Creative Catastrophe. We did name it that way for a reason, but we were very excited about our playtesters. That team's going to be great. We are excited to see what they get into and how the game treats them. Get ready to die, guys. That's right. Wifey doesn't like me saying that too much, but we did kind of, make this so you would die in it. Not easy. Not a lot of time. Lots of crazy creatures. You'll see them soon. Alright, let's get back to what we're doing here. We are trying to get a little bit more of this window in this image here. Here we go. Without completely ruining the vinery that we have going on. See, I feel like if we have wineries, we should also have vineries, where you just go look at the pretty houses that have all the vines wrapped around them. Okay, and again, this is just the base for this. We'll put the top on it in a minute, but we want to get at least some of this this brick wall overlay here that's not happy with me. Is that part of the window, or what is that? Okay, so yeah, it is going across. It's just... There we go. Oh. Went a little too crazy. A little too crazy, a little too fast. There we go. Get in here. You'll notice that when I'm blending some of this stuff, you'll see the how much is being blended away change. I'm editing that up here in this this opacity slide bar. And I'm doing that because the way it actually works is if you put it on 100% opacity and you go and run it, everything's gone. It'll wipe out the whole screen. It's that percentage number is how dense you're fading as you're running through this. So there are going to be some areas where you want a little bit more density, like out in the middle here where I know I'm clearing out this entire space. I'm not afraid of hitting anything. You kind of want it to be more intense so you can make sure you're getting all the little bits and pieces from the overlay that you're trying to get rid of. And at the same time, when you get into, like I just did, when you get into these little areas down here that are closer to an object that you want to, you don't want to mess with, you want to get as close as possible with a dense enough blend that you're not missing anything around it. But then once you get up close, it's not as feasible to do that, because then you're starting to touch the object a little bit, and that's why you drop it down to like 25%. So you're still removing things. It's going to take you twice as long to do it. But that way, if you touch something that you're not supposed to touch, it only lightens it a little bit. It only gets rid of it just a touch. So the blending is it's a little more in the blending area and less in the I'm getting rid of this and I'm keeping this. So and like I said, we're going to put an overlay over this, so it doesn't need to be perfect. But you're dealing with a perfectionist, so good luck trying to walk that tightrope. All right, let's zoom back out here real quick. Yeah, like in these little crevices here, you don't want to use a completely opaque brush, because if I make just even a single mistake, it's going to ruin these extra lines that I actually want to keep. I want to keep that dimension and that style in there and not mess with it. But to do that, you got to be very careful when you go around these little edges and these corners so you don't mess it up. Like this is a real tight area up in here. You're going to want a lighter opacity than what I usually use, because you don't want to mess that up and you do want it to blend a little bit. Like this up here, we're going to blend that in too. There we go. And we're going to use that over here because I want to keep some of this, but not all of it. We want to get the paint in there. There we go. So what we're really looking to do is to keep these dark lines in here, because they look like vines that are kind of hanging down in the window. We want to keep those if we can. It's the little things that give it dimension. So if you take those little things out, that's when you start leaking into that territory of people start looking at your work going, that doesn't look real. That's not how that works. Alright, so we're going to have to get rid of all of this blue in here because it's just disturbing the whole. Alright. Clear that up a little bit in the center here. That's so touchy. Telling you, Control Z is your friend. Undo is literally the #1 thing I hit on this keyboard in Photoshop. I undo everything all the time. Like I said in a previous episode, I think you used to get 20. I'm not sure what it is now. But they only give you a certain number of undos before you're stuck with whatever you didn't undid. And you're just on your own. Right. Getting rid of some of this blue. It doesn't need to be there. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep these. We may have to. I think I'm going to have to erase these bad boys because they are not cooperating with the fading that I'm doing. So we're just going to cut around it manually. Oh, just started erasing way too much over there. Sorry, sometimes my eraser gets a little excited. Starts erasing things that it shouldn't. Don't worry, we'll get back on that in one moment. We're just going to flip this over here, clean this up a bit, make it look like that's a thing. I don't know if we can keep that. That might be too thin there. Let's see. This one I can definitely keep. I think this one may be too muddy to keep. Let's see if I can. Too thick. Thinner brush, thinner brush. There we go. Yeah, maybe we need to start defining the artist versus everything else argument with the, do you have an undo button? Because if you do, you are not an artist. Artists don't have undo buttons. I feel like that might be the qualification we're all missing. All right, I'm going to leave that vine there. I'm going to get rid of the other one because I think that was kind of suspect. And if you just leave this one here, it'll look better than if I leave a half-ass one and one that's using its full ass. So let's just get rid of this entirely. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get rid of whatever this nonsense is down here. See, look at even our fade isn't even faded perfectly. You see that? Because I'm erasing over where I've already faded. Even that fade is kind of heh. Window's much brighter that way. See it? See it? Brighter. Now you don't have to keep it like that. I mean, obviously you can rip it apart like I just did. It's kind of up to you. That gives it a little spookier look. All right, let's get back over here to our fading. Fade all this in. I think that piece looks fine. We're going to have to do something about this. And yeah, we're going to erase around that. So, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We cut that piece out. Looks like we're going to do kind of the same thing for this area because it does not look very clean. Is that where that window is? That's not where that window is. Alright, so that's going to look a little cleaner now that I went and did that. Let's get down here and do this one. I think out of all the things that I've designed over the years, what I spend most of my time actually doing when I'm designing or editing is cleaning. I spend so much time cleaning up objects, cleaning up images, fixing errors. Like that's like half the job that nobody talks about. Wifey still sends me pictures to edit for people. Take a picture out with a bunch of people and I get a photo that says, "Hey, this guy's head's too dark. Can you fix that?" So there you go. We just fix stuff. So I spend quite a bit of time cleaning objects, much like this in Photoshop. There we go. Now, if you look at this from the outside, that's pretty good. That's not too bad. We haven't even really done anything with this in here yet. I might get rid of this because this is kind of hokey. So the thing is, once you put an object down, you then have to look at it and decide, okay, there are parts of it that aren't going to, they're just not going to blend well. And there are parts that are going to blend well. So you have to make the decision of, like, I'm looking at these two down here, and I don't like how they lay over the window. They look like AI mistakes. So instead of keeping them, I'm just going to remove them. There we go. And now they're not a problem. Because we've got enough other stuff working for us. Like, you've got this stuff down here, you've got this over here, this across this windowsill, like all this stuff that's hanging there. You got enough stuff that's hanging. It doesn't have to hang everywhere. It doesn't have to be super, super crossed everywhere. We're going to keep that. Keep this kind of dark. Alright, getting rid of a little brick here, a little brick there, here a brick, there a brick, bunch of bricks all over this page. Alright, so let's get that. We can get rid of all this brickery over here. That's not necessary. This isn't necessary. Everything's looking pretty kosher up there. This looks like a nightmare, but we're going to get rid of most of it. Let's go ahead and do that now. So you see when I take these big swipes, they get quite a lot more in the crosshairs than the little ones, but they do fade center out every time I use one of these, or every time I fade, it fades center out. So the center part is going to end up being just a solid dot of whatever you touch is about to disappear. Let's get rid of this entirely because it's not necessary. We're just going to remove that. Sometimes we just rip whole hunks out. That's how we do delivery. There we go. And remember, this is just the bottom layer. We're doing a top. We're double overlaying this one. So if there's a few little, mistakes around here that don't quite work the way we'd like them to, they probably won't be seen. We do want to get it kind of as close to what we're looking for as possible. All right. Let's kick that in there. All right. Let's zoom out a little bit. Take a look at this bad boy. All right. It looks like we need to get down to this bottom here. What a mess is this? Let's get rid of all this nonsense. There we go. Now, when we slap our background plants up, there you go. See, it'll slide right in there. And there we go. Just doing some trimming. All right. So in order to make this particular vine work, now that it's laid in there, we are going to have to unblack whatever that is. Lighten it up a bit. There we go. There we go. There we are. Perfect. I don't know. I think that looks pretty good. I think this is probably going to have to go. I think we're going to probably have to get rid of all that. Should probably just do it now. It didn't come out very well, and we're going to place the same thing up above that windowsill anyway. So I'm going to get rid of just most of this. We're going to end up putting some different foliage there. I like where this is against the wall, so I'll leave that there. That's fine. But the rest of this, we're just gonna there we go. May not look like much now, but when we're done, we're doing the pieces. That is the purpose. go in and fade some of this nonsense up here that is apparently impeding things. Here we go. All right, totally forgot. Went to lunch, grabbed dessert, didn't even eat my Reese's. Reese's, sponsor us. I love Reese's. We love Reese's and love sponsors. All right. Let's go back up our little piece here that we kept. It's more than likely going to have to come down here with the rest of this. Where's our tree? There's our tree. All right, let's remove our tree. We're going to darken this too. All right. What is that? Oh, is that supposed to be the bottom one? Okay, I moved it. My bad. All right. You're the top now. You're the tops. Is that in the right place? In the right place. Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. There's you. Okay. It's on darken. That didn't matter. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and fade this bad boy out. As you remember, this is the bottom, so it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. We just want to give it a base as best as possible. Now I'm going to switch this to 25 so we can sneak in here and clear up whatever's going on. Yeah, all this weird blue. I swear this house is going to be multicolored. I'm not even sure if it's worth keeping that stuff down there right now, but we won't know that until we get deeper into this part of the design. There we go. Give this some dimension. There you go. All right, now if we zoom back out on that. So this looks great. You see these two? They're really annoying and they're in my way. They're ruining the way that looks. So we are going to get rid of both of them. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll add in a new piece. Oops, wrong. Wait, is that not that layer? That's that layer. Where else are they coming from? Yeah, it's that layer. Couldn't that's why. Oh, okay, because it's got the. Yeah. What if I just do that? And then I also do that. got rid of one of them. Kind of. Huh. That's alright. We'll fix those on this extension. So it's a little dark and muddy up there, and that's fine because this is going to be dark and muddy anyway. Plus, there's our tree. Okay. Excuse me. So the tree will be over a fair amount of it. Even though this truly needs to get cleaned up too. You really do kind of lose those in there, don't you? Alright, so there's this and this, and those two pieces are there. We put the tree back. We're going to turn the tree off for a moment. Now we're going to slap the real bad boy up there. Yeah. Okay. And now we're really getting in it because we are going to knock out the top overlay and see this vine come together. Cleaning it up. Cleaning it up. Alright. Let's get rid of this brick here. Doing a little gradation and holleration, all the Asians. Alright. Got some collaboration, got some innovation, all the Asians. I know I'm kind of haphazardly going around this outside area. Just trying to slowly creep in. Actually, I like that. So, I don't know how we're going to deal with that. Very, very detailed process, if I do say so myself. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. We're gonna figure that area out. We may have to actually like hand do that one. Hand do. Hand do. Alright. And cleaning up around these over here. Around the back edge. I think we're gonna dump those. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very integral to making sure that it looks like the wall is lined up. I'm going to get rid of them entirely. Yeah, just easier to wipe out this entire area. There it is. There it is. All right. Oh, as McConaughey says, all right, all right, all right. Let's get rid of that wall. I'm not going to need any of this. That's not necessary. This is not necessary. I think we're going to go right up to here with all of that. I know it looks fast on the screen, but trust me, it's just the years of experience. You usually want to take your time and be very careful about how you fade and how you trim. I've just done it so long that I know what my expectation level is out of every click. And every time I click and something happens where it goes overboard or it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, I have Control Z in my back pocket, so I'm not too worried. So much to fix. I'm over here bouncing around the different areas and whatnot. There's just so much. Well, the other thing too is that it's hard to be a perfectionist when you're working in this watercolor style that we decided to go with. We did not come up with this style lightly. It may just seem like we pulled this out of a hat or something. We actually went to the trouble of doing a full-on 40-person focus group to determine what style we should go with. We presented them with few options. And ultimately, what the results of that focus group were was that something along the lines of this particular style was what we should go with. Now, granted, it's not like we were gifted that information. It's not like they said, hey, you know what you should really do? You should watercolor paint everything and do it in kind of an impressionist style, but make it creepy like Hitchcock and throw a little 1970s horror film in there. It's not like somebody came back with that answer. I had to figure that out myself. But that was what I took out of the focus group data, is them saying, you know, we really like the full color. We like the colorfulness of the watercolor style and the way that you can really get the full volume of an image, even though we're in a cursed and dark world. It does not mean that everything needs to be black and brown. Things can be super creepy in many colors. So we are trying to keep it very colorful, but also somewhat muted, because you know it is supposed to be a departure from the Wonderland that all of us grew up with. Alright, and we're going to get rid of some of this, and some of that, and some of this right here. That's garbage. Some of this wall is really bothering me. Look at all the darkness up here. And see, this is why we did the underlayer, because now you have that underpainting underneath there that you can rely on when you fade out these areas. I don't have to go do that twice. And that is quite nice. Alright, too much. Let's go back over here and get rid of this. Where is that line from? What is that from? Is that from that? That's not from that. That's from that. Oh, let's get rid of this shit. Whatever this nonsense is really in the way. Did I miss a meeting? Why did we keep all that? Wow. And see, this is why you keep both layers, you go back and forth, because I thought I had this kind of squared away, and I really did not. I really did not. Did I? Yeah, I feel like that's not serving us very well either up there. Yeah, that's kind of what you have to ask yourself as you go through something like this, in every, you know, little area that you're working in, is this particular object or this section, is it serving the whole purpose of the image? If you really can't determine that, or you really can't decide whether you need it or not, just get rid of it. It'll make your life easier. And again, you know, this doesn't have to be perfect, simply because we are going to... Is that more of a window? That'd be perfect because we are going to put this in, put it through a filter and check the watercolor, everything on it anyway. So if there's imperfections, you know, we'll catch and release as they show up. Alright, let's go clean up everything around the window here and get that knocked out. It's kind of key because you want to make sure that whatever you have going on in these windows here. By the way, what do we have going on in these windows here? Oh. Oh yes. We need to get rid of that nonsense. Thing too, when you're dealing with parts and you're fading out certain parts of the pieces and then you're keeping other pieces, you know, other parts of it, you gotta be very careful that you don't leave stuff behind that you didn't need. Like this is part of the windowsill from the object that we brought the vine in with. That does not need to be in there. Ow. I keep doing that with my hand. Yeah, that doesn't need to be obviously in there. So let's get rid of that, if at all possible. Can't see any of this anyway. Like none of that. See, I kind of want to keep that in the window there. It doesn't quite work. Alright, let's get these big sections done here because I'm sure looking at it's probably driving you guys nuts. Probably not going to be able to salvage this vinery here, so we're just going to get rid of it. I don't think any of that's gonna make it to the final product there. And we have a guest. Wifey has returned.
Hi, everyone.
To the claustrophobic hole in a wall.
Oh, we have vines?
We have vines. We're vinery.
Very nice.
We have vines on the right and vines on the left.
You know what I'm going to ask, right?
You want to see the whole thing?
I do want to see the whole thing.
You want to see the whole thing?
know me
There
well.
it is. Alright, there's the whole thing. Hold on, I turned the tree off. Relax. the vines are behind the tree on the wall, so I had to like...
see.
And there's our girl. We got a very creepy scene that that's really starting to take shape here.
Really looks like she's doing some investigative work there.
She's going to be doing some investigative work there, yeah. We still got a lot of texture work to do, and it does look kind of muddy in certain places. Like I've got to fix some of the, the movement of the vines and whatnot. Like this is a little dark up here. But I've got more stuff to put in here, and we'll, run them, I don't know, up there somewhere, I guess. Um, I added this in, I added that in. All the stuff that was over here, it looked like somebody had like piled Wonderland trash in the corner because it just like stacks of like feathers and fern, fern leaves and whatever. It was all stacked on top of each other rather than being, actual plant life. So we're still gonna have to maneuver this, but
Okay.
but we'll get there. We'll get there. But detail wise, it's getting better.
It's getting better. I like the vinage.
Yeah, like all the layers are just driving me nuts.
How many layers is that?
Well, you got these in here too.
Mini layers.
The windows and the windows. So yeah, you're probably looking at, it's probably around 30 now, ish. And we haven't even done the vignettes yet because the vignettes kind of have to be designed first. Like we're gonna have to design that separately, and then we're gonna have to place it in the slot for the window, and then we're gonna have to lay the window back over it so you can see the pane and you can see the paint and the dirt and whatnot. If you don't get that, it's not gonna look right with the walls. So we're kind of underlaying it, which
That sounds cool.
which isn't really a thing.
Did you just make that up?
Kind of. See, here's the problem. Because I'm not formally trained, I don't know what I've made up and what I haven't. I don't know if there's like a real there's a real thing out there that's called that, or this is what I call it. I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll find out. But for right now, as far as I'm concerned, I made that up.
Okay.
I mean, I spend half my day overlaying things, so there should be some kind of underlay somewhere. But yeah, we're getting there. Slowly, but surely. And once we get the appropriate amount of vinage, we will then... I think I want to finish up... I don't know. I think I want to finish this up a bit.
Okay.
Because I was looking at it earlier and talking to the camera and all that. This looks, because of where we have her situated, it looks like she's like seated in the crook of this tree.
It looks like she's kind of embedded in the tree, like she could use that for cover if she wanted to.
Sure, like if she ducked down, right, you wouldn't see her if you were looking out the window or whatever. That's kind of why she's placed that way, but that makes it look like this section right here is one layer of shrubbery that's close to the house, and then this here is like closer, so she could like walk between them, kind of. It kind of has that vibe. So because it looks like that, and because we're essentially, for all intents and purposes, when you zoom out, we're making a 2D illustration / design that looks three-dimensional, because when you look at it, you can tell that she's closer up than the tree is. You can tell that the windows are back there against the wall. The vines are on top of the windows, but she's in front of the vines. Like you see that.
It looks like she can walk through all of the foliage
right
down there and not be up against the wall. Like
right. Even though her hand is right there against the wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's supposed to look that way. It's supposed to look realistic, because if we do it realistic now, once we flow through and do the watercolor over it, everything will be in the right place. So if it watercolors something a bit differently and it kind of generalizes it, impressionist styles it, rather than making it as detailed as what we have it, it won't matter, because we know what it looked like originally, and this is just artist interpretation of that. Hello, Miss Grace.
Gracie Boo.
Gracie Boos. Come here, little Gracie Boo. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. So yeah, what we're gonna do with the bottom is I want to do more foliage, but like put like another layer in front, so it's got like
a little more depth to it.
So it's got like the wall, the vine, and then this layer of shrubbery, and then this layer, and then another layer. So it's like 3 layers in. So it's like 3 layers in, and hopefully that will look all right when we flip it to watercolor. You are moving the camera, Missy. Cut that out.
I'm gonna go give her some cat candy.
Is it time for the TRATS?
Would you like treats?
Ooh, treat time.
Treat time. Oh, and they all come running.
Yep,
Okay.
that's how it works.
Walking away for treat time.
Walking away for treat time. Sneaking up on 4 hours for today's stream. We're getting better at this, slowly but surely. All right, a little bit of this in there. Going, and we keep going, and we keep going, we keep going. Merge, 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 baby. All right. Yeah, we're looking good. Let's get rid of that window line. And whatever this window line is, let's get rid of that too. And then we'll come down here and do this one. All right. Looking good, looking good. Okay. Let's get some of this brick out of here. Some of this brick and some of this blue that's in this window. Where did that come from? And a lot of this is going to get merged. So you end up getting just the watercolor of it all and not all this excess nonsense. It's a very interesting medium to work with because you don't generally see a lot of digital watercolor. Everyone has really seemed to like the way the art looks. We personally kind of went that route because it automatically, just with the nature of the running paint and not all the detail is necessarily there in a watercolor, depending on what kind of watercolor you do. But now detail is there. We like that. We like the way that looks because it lends itself to being creepy, which makes it easier for us to make things creepy. Because they kind of already are. Alright, get rid of that. Why is that not erasing? That's because that's part of the underbrush. Let's get rid of you. Yeah, unfortunately, as I'm sitting here and I'm talking, I feel myself saying, alright, a lot.
Don't do that.
I don't have a choice. I'm not used to talking to people while I'm doing this. I'm used to just doing it. This whole, turning this into a podcast thing was never really in my future.
Well, you are here now,
I
sir.
am here now, and we doing it. Alright. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of lightning because that is way too dark. So is some of this. Whoa, hey. Didn't mean to do that.
Too far.
Too far. Alright, let's clean up this window down here because it's looking rather disgusting. Come on. Get. Let's get some more window in here and get rid of whatever this is. There we go. I think we have to lose that. Put you up against here and get some of this blue out. And there we go. We may have to come back and erase that and line it in a bit just so it's clearer. I think that's a little... See, I don't even know if we can keep all this. I mean, I kept some of it there. I guess the bigger pieces you can keep. So we're just going to dump all of that.
What's your concern?
I'm trying to keep some of this vinage right here because it overlays on top of the windows. So this is a double overlay that's going on right now. So it has a base piece that's blended into the wall. But that base piece is so dark you don't actually see like the vines and the little colors and whatnot. So you do a double overlay. That's the base, and the top is the full color version. But because you have that base, I can kind of erase over whatever I want and still keep the structure underneath it so it doesn't go too far. Like I've got to erase all this stuff over here because it's way too dark. And if I was doing it without having a base on it, it would just all disappear. But because I have one that's blended already, I can kind of choose how much of it I use and how much I don't. Yeah, how much of it I use and how much I don't. Like, I don't want this to be as dark as I want you to be able to see everything, like, growing up there.
Remington. Closer.
Good day, Mother. How you doing, Mr. Steele?
He's just checking everything out.
Doing what he does.
Doing his rounds.
Doing his rounds.
Everything's working okay. Our little security cat.
That's right. It's my tiger. He took the black, and now he walks the wall. See, all you Game of Thrones people would know that one. All you Throners! Okay, get rid of some of these bricks here. They're in the way of my window. Some of them are trying to be my window. Alright. Let's get that in there. Does that go there? I guess it does. Okay. Alright. So it looks like this one is almost done.
What's your next step?
I don't know. I'm still on this step. How am I supposed to know what my next step is? I'm thinking about trying to fix this. More vines, I would assume.
More vines.
More vines. Mo vines and mo vines and mo vines. And bovines. Get some cows in here too. No, I was just trying to get. Like I said earlier, I think I may have said it or today or yesterday. If we're gonna put vines in the building, the important part is to get the ones that are wrapped around the windows done first, because those specifically have to fit in spaces and around cracks and whatnot. Everything else can kind of be willy nilly wherever. So as long as I have some vines around the windows, it'll look realistic.
Okay.
And Remy's back. What do you see, Mr. Man? Love how he's looking at his sister like, can I sleep there too?
I've had a
Hey,
long
buddy.
day of
Hey, buddy.
patrolling the house.
Come here. No, come here. Either come see Daddy or leave. Pick one. Yeah, buddy. Oh, it's my big boy. There he is. All right, kitty pet break. Kitty pet break.
Necessity in our
Oh,
house.
it's a big boy.
Come here, pretty boy.
Watch the camera. All right. That's all right. A couple weeks, we'll have this thing gutted and we'll mount that sucker. So we don't have to worry about tapping it.
That's right. We're gonna gut the office here and make it a little more streaming friendly.
You guys can't see it, but this actually used to be a closet and kind of still is a closet.
It's a walk-in closet.
It's a good sized closet, but it's got shelves all the way around it, and I just moved myself in here and set up all my equipment and started going at it. And originally, not that big of a problem.
But then
I kind of like working in a hole. It's it's enclosed, it's tight. You know, I have my desk, I have my space, and that's it. And then wifey started showing up and sitting here and watching me design, and
and she said we need to redo it all.
immediately started looking around with the eye that she has and went, "Why has this room not been gutted and painted and refurnished and reshelved? Why is it not lit properly?" Like this is what she does. Her brain immediately goes to interior design because she is very, very good at it.
Thank you.
She comes up with all the ideas and then I go paint it
and build it.
So yeah, she's sitting in here and she's going, "This is just making me more and more anxious."
It's very
because
claustrophobic in here. With
well,
all the shelves.
it's a closet. It was not meant for two grown people to be sitting here, streaming. This is not a room for a podcast build.
It will be when I'm done.
I mean, it will be when we are done. She talks a lot of shit about we just need to rip these shelves out. Oh, we do we? We need to rip them out? Okay.
Look,
we as in my right arm and my left arm.
I'll take us some.
And see, that's the problem right there. You think that you're gonna come in here with a hammer and a mallet and just start beating shit. No, everything is screwed in. You can just unscrew it and take the whole shelf down. You don't have to do demo.
That is nowhere near as fun.
I know it's not as fun, but I'm the one that has to patch the wall when you rip it out with a hammer.
I'm looking for therapeutic process here.
Listen, okay, first of all,
Go back to designing.
This is not your scream room or your escape room or what. This is my office.
Go back to designing.
What is going on here?
I don't know.
Trying to tear my office apart with a hammer.
Might be my interior design therapy.
All right. We got some vines. We got some weeds. Let's go find some more. All right. We use that guy. We use this guy. What do you think? Think we should use this guy?
What guy are we looking at?
This guy. Looking at this stuff right here.
I love the colors.
I wonder if we can put that. We can't really fit that. I guess we can fit that like right there. Like if we
gotta shrink it.
no, let's see.
It's kind of grown on a ledge. We got a ledge-ish.
Well, it doesn't have to grow on a. I can get rid of this. Like once you remove this,
Okay.
like you won't know there's a ledge there, or there was a ledge there. Like if I take this part off, it just looks like it's growing on the wall.
Right, but in that picture, it's growing on a ledge, and when you look up, the windows have little ledges.
Yeah. So
are we gonna have that?
we're just gonna take that.
Okay.
The rest of this won't be there. It's just this.
I know. I'm just saying, where's it gonna be growing from?
I don't know that yet. I have not figured out that pot. Now I'm guessing if we put it here, because the long piece will then fit across here, then the rest of it will be like over, kind of partly over this window and right in here. Once we fill in the rest of the vines, it will look like it's growing from that.
From that
right.
out.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Or at least it'll be under it. Excuse me. At least it'll be under it. So sometimes with layering, when you look back at the bigger image, the things that you and I are concerned about people seeing, they don't even notice because it's layered underneath other stuff and they're focused on other things. So it's just kind of part of the background. So, and again, I could be absolutely incorrect. We could take this, put it in there, and go, that does not work.
That did not work the way we thought it was going to work.
And we're going to find out right now.
I have definitely seen that happen.
More than once. All right. The question is, where layer-wise do we want to put it? Probably above the windows. Oh, I've got all these new layers in here. Okay. Before I do anything else, I need to label the rest of these. All right. So that is vine far left. What are you? You are vine far left. Top piece. And you are vine far left. Bottom. Right? Bottom? Yes, you're the bottom. And you are the tops. Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed my little weird setup I have going on here with my keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
So the keyboard underneath the keyboard goes to the other mouse, the other mouse set. So
that died yesterday.
Right, that died yesterday. So what I did figure out is I have another mouse, but every one of these systems has like a USB doohickey that plugs into your USB,
Right.
a dongle, excuse me, the correct term for it. Each one of those sets has one. I only have one available USB slot, and I need to use one for the mouse and one for the keyboard. So I have to use the keyboard that came with the laptop because it connects via Bluetooth and doesn't require a USB.
So you can use the mouse.
So I can use the mouse and a keyboard at the same time.
We're going to have to figure that out.
I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I like using it. I hate having to deal with it.
Considering the fact you've got about 5 screens surrounding you right now.
I have 6, if you count my phone. All right. Copied. Pasted. I've got vines down here at the bottom. Are there any other layers I didn't label? All right. Then what we want to do is put it above the windows, below the other vines. So we will start top, bottom, plant, far bottom, far right. Yeah, we'll start right there. Why not? Bang! All right. Oh, that's the wrong image. I'm pretty sure I hit copy. Give it to me. missing a meeting? What's going on here? Copy image. Did you copy it? Do I have to copy it 3 times? What was going on here? Copy it. Thank you. Oh, it was popping up underneath the vine. That would be why it looked like that was the same image. Okay, we have to put you up here. Never mind, I'm putting it all the way at the top because I can't see. Alright, here we go. Time for placement. So it is going to need to be bigger and better. But I say it'll fit like right in there.
Oh yeah, that looks like it will fit perfectly.
Now granted, it's going to need other stuff like up that wall. Otherwise, like you said, it's going to look like it's just somehow it's growing out of the center of the wall. But
it definitely needs
this
to look
part lines
organic
up,
to
this
the
part
space.
lines up. Yeah,
But,
we'll fit it in there. Okay. We are just over the 4-hour mark today. Alright, so that can go right about here. And if we try to blend it. Bless you. Fine, horizontal. Alright, and that, and this, and away we go.
Hello, Chloe Chap.
Babies!
The little monster has joined us.
Hey, you Meebs.
Go see Daddy.
What you doing? What you doing, Chunkies? See, I'm going to the window. I don't even care about Dad. Oh, big booty. Yep, all about the window. Okay, and we blend, and we blend.
Hello,
And we continue to blend. Don't bother your sister.
Who's like 10 years older than you.
Right, doesn't matter. Still don't bother your sister.
Oh, come here. Oh.
I feel like with these guys, there are certain phrases we should just have on like a on the phone voice recorders. We just press the button. Don't bother your sister.
Don't bother your sister.
Don't eat that. It's not for you.
That's not your food.
That's not your food. Leave them alone. They're not bothering you. Alright. So we can clean all of this out. We don't need any of this garbage. Why don't you tell the folks who are not presently listening, who will eventually, hopefully, be paying attention via YouTube, how often I end up having to design things that are hundreds of layers, and then some things are 10 layers. Just depends on what it is. And sometimes you don't know until you get into it.
I just love when somebody asks you to design something, and I literally see the messages from them. They're like, "Oh, it's just a quick thing. You won't have a problem."
Oh, yeah.
And then like 25 layers later.
Nobody has any idea of how long it takes to do anything. Like if you don't actually know how to do the thing, you have got to stop telling people, "Oh, it should only take this long."
Agreed.
You know nothing.
If it is not your job.
If it's not your job, don't be telling people that it should take this long because you have no idea how long that takes. Especially the fact that you, the unprofessional, are the one saying how long it takes, and the professional looking at it is either going to go, well, because I know things that you don't, that takes a minute and a half and a part, or I'm just brilliant and can get it done in 5 minutes. Or maybe it'll take 6 days. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of assumption of how long it takes to do something. The new fun one, are clients that will go, well, this should get done faster because you have AI now. Like it's just the answer to every production problem known to man. That, oh, just have AI do it. Well, then why are you calling me?
2 to 3 hours looking for a piece of something from AI.
Well, here's the thing I don't get understand out of that, because the logic doesn't make any sense. If you're telling me that my job should go faster because I have AI, why are you calling me? Just use AI. I don't. Oh, that would be because it doesn't actually do the whole job, like you think it does.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It
You
does
have to
not do the
remember,
whole job.
It is a tool, and it makes the job easier
In some ways.
but in some ways. But just like in my job, and I don't do what you do, it is a tool. It does make some things easier, but it doesn't do your job for you.
Yeah. It doesn't do your job for you. You still have to do the job. Although we are sneaking up on agentic AI, where you can just tell it to go do the job. So everybody's about to be a director. That's gonna be fun.
I really don't think that's how it's gonna work.
I hope it's not how it ends up working, because there are a lot of people out there that should not be directing the laundry, much less anything else. I saw an ad earlier for a lady that was talking about. I don't remember what company it was, but they have it's an AI plugin that you can get that will run operations on your computer for you. So you can actually like see it moving the mouse and clicking the things, and it's like, and she was talking about how in the morning she has it set up to where it will go through her email, it'll go through the news, it'll go through like whatever she normally looks at in the morning, and it will summarize everything for her and kind of bullet point, this is what you need to look at, this is what you need to look at, the rest of this is nonsense and doesn't need your attention. So it acts like an assistant. Here's the problem with that. While I like all the things that she said that it does, what it also does is it has access to all your passwords, all your bank information, all the info that you have on your computer, and it can go do its own thing when you're not paying attention.
Well, it is.
And there's no regulation on that.
And just like any other assistant,
yeah,
you still have to be careful with what information you give it.
This is very true, but if your assistant takes your credit card and goes and blows a bunch of money on whatever the hell they feel like, you can sue them for it. You can't sue an AI. You can try, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's a very interesting time that we live in, folks. Alright, so that is the base here. That should be pretty good. Let's see what we got left. We got some excess garbage over here. I'm guessing that is from that line. You need to go. Okay. Line horizontal. Oh. Looks like we got some down here too. Let's get rid of that. Just leaving pieces everywhere. That looks a lot better. Let's zoom out. That looks pretty good. Time to duplicate it. You become the bottom. And this becomes the top. is no longer lightened. It is full color. Ooh, is that on the other one? Oh, I guess you don't see that. Okay. Alright. We're gonna slide through removing this stuff. Just some excess there. And almost done. What I was thinking down here, we're getting rid of all that nonsense, whatever that is. Okay. Let's get rid of this nonsense because we don't know what that's doing either. Get rid of all of that.
I like that. I like the pop of color there.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
And again, it'll be a little bit of a mishmash once the
vines
once the
growing up
watercolor
around it,
goes
yeah.
over it. It's going to be very much like the original cover where it's very watercolor painted because this is very detailed. And again, it's something it's something I have to watch out with, and it's one of those things that you don't think of, or you don't really have. I mean, I guess you do, but it's kind of specific when you're dealing with AI because you can tell it to give you something in watercolor, and there's like 17 different styles of watercolor, so you're not going to get necessarily the same level of detail, the same quality level, whatever else. So in order to keep this properly branded and have everything look like it, looks like it's supposed to, I'm gonna still have to go back and run a filter over this, just like I would have to if I didn't have AI to give it that watercolor look. Otherwise, it won't have it and it won't make sense. So just goes to show you, kids, just because you have AI doesn't mean it fixes all the problems. Some things you're still gonna have to do the work on.
It's still a wonderful tool if you know how to use it right.
It's great. It saves a bunch of time, and I don't have to spend the next 10 years illustrating this world by hand. Nothing against that. It just takes a lot of time. Why is this not erasing enough? All right. Let's get a little more of this in here. Is it worth it? Nah, I'm not gonna keep those. They're gonna be too much of a pain. Too much of a pain to salvage. All right, we're gonna get rid of some of this underscoring in the brick there with those two layers. Like I said before, sometimes you got to go back and erase things you didn't think you were gonna have to erase, just because once you put the top layer over top of it, you match them up and you go, what is that down there? does not belong. And that is what we are doing right this particular moment. All of this needs to go. And it does not want to go quietly. Alright, just clearing up some of these dark spots in here. Trying to get it meshed with the background. As you can see as we go along, the background kind of starts to show up as you cut out some of these pieces that you don't need. Like I didn't realize all this stuff in here is brick wall that I don't necessarily want. So I gotta go back and get rid of all of it. Oh, I meant to ask you, did you see the reel I sent you that was how bees sleep in flowers?
I did not.
You gotta go check that out. It's cute. It's adorables.
Bees and flowers.
They sleep with their butts out.
Little bee butts.
They sleep with their little booties out, and they're all like covered in pollen. It's like they did like pollen crack and just left it all over their face or something.
It's like when our fur babies get covered in
Yes, when they get
catnip
when they get like catnip and they just pass out right there. That's exactly what happens. Except I can't figure out like why it's all over their butt. Is it also all over their face? Like is it all over the whole bee or is it just on the butt?
You know when Mila gets into her
Oh, she gets it everywhere.
and she just rolls.
Yeah,
around
she gets it everywhere. But do bees roll around in pollen? Is that like a thing that they do? I mean, I guess they could.
Kick it up and just in the air and it falls.
I don't know enough about how bees work to be able to be making that judgment about them, but
I don't either, but it's super cute.
I just happen to notice that in all the pictures of the bee butts, they all have pollen dust all over their butts, and I'm just like, did you like roll around in the pollen, or is it just a butt thing? Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand what's going on here.
But they're super cute.
They are adorable. That's why I sent it to you. That came showed up in my feed, and I was like, oh, she's gonna want to see bee butts. Bee booties! Little tiny bee booties.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yes. Alright. Cleaning that up. As I've told you before, folks, possibly the most boring part of my job. And I say possibly because there are several boring parts of my job.
But details matter.
Details matter. We've said it the entire time. You gotta go in and clean stuff up. Otherwise, your designs look messy. Nobody likes a messy design. Alright, so let's do 21% and Oop, too much. Too much. Love Control Z.
Is that the undo?
That is the undo button.
I love an
The
undo
undid. I've been telling everybody that when you work in Photoshop, you get, or at least you used to get, I don't know how many it does it now, but you used to get 20 undos in a row. You get 20 undos in a row, and if that wasn't enough, then you just need to start over. It was essentially what it was telling you, because it would just stop letting you undo.
They're like, apparently whatever you're doing just needs to be undone.
Was just bad.
You just need to back
It was
up.
it was so bad that
you
you've
need to undo all of
right.
it. Start again.
I think we need to undo you is what's going on. I think you need to be undone. Yeah, it's hilarious because you'll be going through and you'll get 20 of them in and then all of a sudden it just stops. And it's like Photoshop going, "No, that's enough. If you suck this much, start over."
If you were unsure of yourself.
Right. If you had to go back 20 steps because you made that big of a mistake.
You clearly don't have a plan.
Right. Apparently, if you did, it backfired. So, just start a new canvas. Everyone in your family will thank you. Alright, and as it turns out, we cannot fade that part. Because if we do, it will look janky as shit. So. Alright, we're going to try a little something. Alright. Time for a little detail work. I don't wanna, but I've got to. And I know you're looking at this going, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why is it yellow? That's the window, folks. So the branches of this vine hang down over this window, but what I am erasing is the brick from the image that the vine comes in, because it is too tight in here to fade it out. The lines won't be crisp once you get the fade done. They'll all be blurry. So you kind of have to hand erase this. It's really the only way I know to do it. Otherwise, you won't get the definition of the plants, and you won't be able to see the window, which is sort of integral, being that we're about to put people in it. So we kind of have to do a little bit of this.
Yeah.
And kind of reverse edge this window. Hey, wifey.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yep.
Alright, let's clean around this thing. Can't make it too fat because then we'll look weird with all our black lines. Just a little bit more. There we go. What are you whining about down there, midget?
She's upset because I am watching the screen and not her.
Oh, well.
Yes.
She's upset that you're doing anything but watching her.
Yes. The little diva that she is.
Mm-hmm. The mommy, pay attention to me. What are you doing?
She's, I want to be on camera.
You don't need to be on camera. You get enough attention as it is. It's like, yeah, but it looks like fun. If I need that, let's get rid of that. That was not right either. There we go. I'm kind of winging this, so we may have to erase that in a bit. But we'll see. Alright. And you thought Crayola 1 was over. We're still coloring, kids, just in reverse. Alright, now that we are out of that, we can do a little bit of this and erase all this nonsense.
That looks better.
That's better. It's not perfect, but...
Can we zoom out and see it? Oh, very close. It looks like it's dripping over the window now.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So what I can do, though, on top of that, is do a little zhuzhery. There we go. So those dark areas aren't quite so dark. There's a little bit of texture behind them. All right. Not too bad, right? What do you think about just taking this piece, duplicating it, and stretching it so it goes underneath that?
I agree with that. So it connects to the foliage to the right of the windows.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
So the bright orange that's in there,
That.
yeah, I kind of love, but it's not in any of the other colors.
Sure it is.
That's pink. That's all pink.
Orange. That's supposed to be orange. These are kind of orange up here.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it looks like it fits in, because when you look at this, when you look at what's around the windows and you look at what's on the ground,
that is a problem.
Yeah, they don't quite match the same color palette.
They don't, and what we're gonna do is that's only gonna matter. It's only gonna matter right here, because when this kind of like drives down into the rest of this,
Okay.
you're right, it should kind of match. So what I'll do is I'll just put a box over this, like an overlay color, overlay it, erase around the box, and it'll end up being kind of the same tint as this yellow.
Okay.
And then we'll blend it so it blends from the yellow into like the green or whatever that goes up here. So you'll get the multitude of colors when we do the vines that are down here and whatnot. We'll blend those so they go from this to this.
Okay.
I do want it colorful. It still needs to look dead at the same time. It's kind of one of those, it's one of the many lines that we have to walk while we're designing this thing. One of those lines is everybody wants to see color, but it's freaking cursed. So like, how colorful can it really be? So the way we decided to kind of mitigate that was we're still doing full color, but the colors are, even though they're kind of vibrant colors, we're muting them, we're darkening them, we're making them like dingy, like we're converting them a bit so we can still use the color, but it still fits the ambiance of what you're looking at. So we can fix colors at any point in time, even with this. At any time I can change it to whatever color I want. Like if I want it to be blue, it can be blue. And then also, I can change how much it's saturated. So if we want to darken it out or dye it, kill it, we just do that.
I see. And that actually, even though I love the orange, that looks
It looks more realistic.
immediately like it matches more the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is all bright and hey.
Yeah.
It's just like us doing, now you got neon. But yeah, if you desaturate it and suck some of the color out of it, the color's still there, and it matches this a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get there once we have the rest of the
pieces.
rest of the vines up
Okay.
and match it all together so it works.
Okay.
That's one of those things like if you don't do this, you're looking at it going, oh yeah, that's a different color than this. This is brighter. This is a different color than this. Why is this all red and this is blue?
One of
and
those trust the process things. Like when you have all the pieces, then you go back and you go, okay, let's make sure they all fit.
Trust the process and trust the designer, because he knows he's going to do that later. All right, so that piece is in there. Let's.
And you're going to lengthen that.
Yeah, you think we should do that, or you think we should leave
this?
You think we should leave this brick in here?
No, I feel like we should lengthen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should just do a cut copy of this section and have this come down there as well. Okay. Then what we need to do is, how do we want to do this? We will pull everything off. Yeah, this is where you get to see the sausage made. This is what all the underpinning looks like. We don't need that. We just need this. So we'll take this section right here. Copy, merge, paste special. Where'd that sucker paste? All the way up there. All right. Let's put these back. Now you got this whole extra thing that can go right there. And then we'll get this back to 50% and fade all of this nonsense.
Still keeping in mind that you're still putting like vignettes in the windows, so
Sure.
So you want to be careful not to cover too much of them, depending on how much of a scene you want to put behind the window.
Well, to paraphrase a once great band, this ain't a scene. This is a cover. So, what you have to keep in mind is that we are going to make the vignettes separately. I'll give you a little hint in the process here of how I plan on doing this. We're going to make the vignettes separately. Put that in an image, hopefully. Probably take up we'll do the whole thing, but the main part of it will be in these windows down here.
Okay.
But what we'll end up doing is making the vignette image the full size, because you're going to want to see the ceiling or whatever else that goes through here. We can fade it if we need to. But we make a full tall portrait image of whatever that's going to look like. We bring it in here, and then what we do is we take one of the cutting devices and we cut around all of the windows, all 6 at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do it separately, but all 6 at one time. When you do that, it'll give you the cut marks all the way around the windows. You don't actually cut the windows out. The first thing you do is you lay the image that you just created that's supposed to go in the windows underneath it, and then it will cut out just the pieces that go in the windows.
Fit inside the windows.
Right, so I don't have to erase in between the lines and all other nonsense. So you get rid of all the excess, and all you're left with is the windows and a duplicate that is the shape of the windows, but it is the vignette. So then you can actually kind of like overlay that on top of the windows and fade it in. Or what I plan on doing is because I have the windows separately, they're all still in a separate layer. It doesn't look like it now. I never merged them into the wall. Did that intentionally, because now what I can do is I can slide those vignettes underneath the layers of the window, and then I can just start lightening the inside of this.
That's wild.
So you'll be able to see through it.
Okay.
We'll see how that works. It's something like that. Like the process isn't, exactly the same every time, but that's kind of the
That's
direction I'm
okay.
planning on going in.
I'm here for the magic.
Yeah. It may not be today because we're trying to do vintage today. It may be tomorrow. But that will be kind of the. It's not the final piece. It's the last major edit we're gonna have to do because the final piece is actually ripping this off, dumping it back into Midjourney, and making sure that it is
Matches
able
the
to
aesthetic.
match the aesthetic.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna have to rip her out too. It's probably just gonna be the wall, the background, everything, and I have to put her in separately on top of that and then lay this over it. So we'll see how it works when we get there. It really kind of depends on how much of the work Midjourney does for me as far as the watercoloring of everything. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be the show.
All right.
So yeah, so that's where that needs to be. Let's finish cleaning this up a little bit.
I'm gonna step out for a minute while you do that.
Yeah. All right, so we're cleaning this up in the corner.
Frank.
Yeah. And you see all this up here is a lot of hoo-ha. A lot of nonsense. We're gonna have to clean all of this up. Because you definitely want to be able to see the windows, the sills, all of it needs to be visibly in there. Thank you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaking up on hour 5. Why, might you ask? Because I have to do this anyway, whether you're here or not. So we might as well do it together. What do you think about that? Alright, clean that up, clean that up. This is all it's all a little dirty in there. Trying to clean up some of this suspect excess. Yeah, I think that's the bottom one's got that. So we're trying to merge your vines together, and there's still some dirty in there. Not quite as clean as I wanted it to be. Well, and even if you end up watching this, if you would rather see the fast version, I'm fairly sure we're going to end up making a speed reel of this so you can see kind of the whole process in under 2 minutes. That'll be an interesting watch. Let's get rid of whatever that nonsense is. Let's clean this up a little bit. Alright, that's halfway decent. And that is a mess. Okay. All this stuff we just cleaned.
So to me, sitting back here,
Uh-huh.
I can't actually see what you're doing. So what are you focused on?
How can you not see what I'm doing? You're closer than everybody else.
I mean, I see it.
I'm cleaning up this particular shrubbery because when you fade something in, especially when it's kind of been pre-designed for you, a lot of things have like a black outline around them, and some things don't. So when you're fading something in, you kind of have to decide how much of any part of it you want to allow to stay there, and it's really tricky with shrubbery and bushes because you have leaves everywhere and different levels of fading and different levels of design. So sometimes to get things lined up properly, um, you can't just fade in around little tiny detailed things like leaves. I'm going to have to actually go in with an eraser and erase around the edges so they look detailed enough. So it doesn't look like, you see all this up here? When I zoom in, see how all this area is defined? It's very detailed, and you can tell those are leaves and they fall over, whatever.
Yeah.
But this gets a little
It gets a little
fuzzy.
blurry.
It gets a little blurry
Yeah.
up here. That's because it is fuzzy and blurry. It's not doing that just for, because it feels like it. And it's actually worse down here.
Yeah,
I
see
have
the
to get rid of
blurriness,
this, and
yeah.
I just noticed that that's blurry too, so we kind of have to get rid of that. When you're looking at it from like here, you really won't notice that much. But we're at 50%, so it's also one of those things where I'm going back now and trying to clean up some of the mistakes or some of the leftover pieces from earlier. We were just trying to decide if something would work. It's one of those things you run into with the whole design process, is that you're sometimes you get so focused on trying to make sure that the little section that you're working on is done exactly the way you want, that you end up leaving bits and pieces of layers that you disappeared most of. You end up leaving them, and then later on you're adding something else and you go, why is there this dark spot here? I can't get rid of it. Where is that? And then you get to spend 20 minutes going through every one of your layers to figure out which one it's on so you can erase it. Alright, so what we'll do, we'll get rid of all of this as a matter of course. Yeah, I think we're going to have to get rid of that too. Well, no, I guess that's fine. We'll just erase this here. Alright, let's get this out of here, that out of there, and how close are we? Not too bad. Some of this, get some of this. Okay, and then we shrink this a little bit, and we're going to clean up in here, because that is not working. And just like we discussed probably a couple days ago at this point, when you duplicate something and you're putting it right next to the thing you duplicated it from, you do not want them to look exactly the same, because that, my friends, makes you look like a crappy designer. So we move this sucker over. We are going to make this particular hangy downy leaf
Hangy
downy.
downy.
That's what it is. It's hanging down.
Has a technical term
That is,
for
listen,
all designers out there.
I design. I don't deal with plant life. That is not my gig. So whatever you call plants that hanging down from up above, that's what this is. It's doing some down hanging, and it needs to down hang different than the plant over here, so it doesn't look like we just copied it over and did what we did. So therefore, we're cutting pieces off that are in the one on the left
to make it look a little more natural.
to make it look a little different, and therefore becomes more natural. Dun dun dun. Better be careful and start breaking out my Keith Richards voice.
Don't do it.
That, as they say, is how the cookie crumbles. I didn't realize he was Matthew Perry's stepfather.
I did know that.
I didn't know that.
I did know that.
I saw that yesterday. It's very interesting. They just put his assistant in jail. There we go. So that's a little more clean in there.
Zoom out.
Listen, you and the zoom out. Like, I get that you need to see the whole picture, but I'm kind of in the middle of detail work here, and that kind of takes me out of what I'm doing. So you will have to wait a minute. Trying to protect the windows, lady. Make sure we don't lose the windowness. Because they are about to become the focal point of this thing. See, so far you guys are looking at this going, well, this just looks like a house with some windows and a lady sneaking around outside. I guarantee you, when we get done with the vignettes part, you will not be paying so much attention to the vinery. The vinery will not be what you're looking at.
But details matter.
But details matter. So we like to cover all our bases and make sure that everything is detailed out. That and get rid of whatever that is, and we should be able to fade those, and then there's that over there, which is nonsense, and we're going to fix that. Okay. A little bit more work over here. I don't know what we were doing. We just kind of like skipped this whole area for some reason. I don't know what happened. Clean that up. Da, 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 da. All right, and good there, good there. All right, lights, camera, action. One more second and we'll zoom out for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some. Is that even doing anything? I'm on the wrong layer. That would be why it's not doing anything. Come on, give me some backdrop. There we go. There we go. Now I'm getting a little not black. Show me some love, Photoshop. Show me some love. There it is. All right. So you got a little bit of this in here. Yeah. So you don't look so trashy. A little bit of that. A little bit of this. A little bit of whatever's going on over here. Why do you have lines in you? That's all right. We'll fix that in a bit. That's not too bad. Let's zoom out.
Yeah, I like it covering the windows.
All right. We're going to have to remember to come back later and edit this a bit because they look exactly the same. It may not once the vignettes are in there, once the watercolor's through, it may not show up that way. So I'm not too worried about it right now. Not everything doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It does need to be placed though. So yeah, we're We're ripping it up here with the layers.
So what's next?
You and the what's next? You can't even take a breather, can you?
You know.
I can't just take a break and enjoy the fact that we just pulled that off.
I think it looks amazing.
Right.
What's next?
You're a masochist. What's next is more vines.
And
Unless you think we're done.
I think we need a break time, and I think we need to process the vinage.
It is almost 5 hours into this. We got another minute and a half before we hit 5 hours. I think we have
We've done quite a bit today.
we have done quite a bit today, and I'll be doing quite a bit more. Except,
Process.
you know what? I have a meeting in 45 minutes.
Oh, well, there you go.
So this is probably a good time to take a break.
Yeah.
We'll save this up, and maybe if you're lucky, I'll be back on later. Depends on how this meeting goes. If it doesn't go well, may go plane traffic. Yay!
That's not.
No, it's not that. It's not that big a deal. We're good. So we'll save this. We will come back either later tonight or tomorrow. So check the channel. Wifey will probably not be here for the rest of the vinery, but she promises that she will be here for the making of the vignettes.
Yes.
She wants to see that. So I agree. That'll be some fun stuff. So we will get to that in not the next episode. Next episode is probably more Vine, and then after that we'll hit vignettes. Cool.
I like it.
All right, guys. It's been real. We'll catch you a little bit later. Maybe later tonight. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see you whenever we see you.